All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we got a great one here for you. We got the one, the only. We got Flint, Michigan's own. We got Gozza right here on the line. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good. What's up, Immortal? Good to be here on the show.
Hey, man, it's good to have you here, man. I gotta say, I've most definitely been digging your music, man. I have to say, you have a one-of-a-kind flow, man. I gotta say this quickly before we jump into this, man. I really like how you keep the elements of the hip-hop culture alive through your music, man. Not a lot of MCs are really doing that these days, so I gotta take my hat off to you for that one.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I do it for real hip hop heads like you. You know, I'm a fellow hip hop head, and I love the elements, and I feel like all the elements of hip hop should never have been taken out of the music. You know what I mean? That was just basically some greedy corporation bullshit. You know, taking the DJ and the scratching, the b-boys, the graffiti. I mean, all that to me is an important part of the hip hop.
I most definitely agree, man. And it's weird that even kids today, they don't even know that graffiti was a part of the hip hop culture, man.
I
It's
know.
sad, man. These kids need music like yours to actually really teach them about what real hip hop is.
Yes, I agree, man. The formula of hip hop with all the elements is a perfect thing in my opinion, and it can be new and fresh by constantly evolving and changing up certain styles. But it's like those key elements they should be kept in hip hop in my opinion. And I don't like to hear songs without scratching or it's like b boys graffiti. That's an important part that everyone should know about and everyone should acknowledge.
But I gotta ask you there, guys. I like taking you like way back to the beginning, man. Like, what actually made you decide to get into the music industry?
I got to give it up to my brother, my older brother Ryan. He's like 5 years older than to me. He basically schooled me when I was younger and would bring hip hop tapes to play for me, and he really encouraged me and got me excited about the culture and the music. We'd listen to radio shows in the local Saginaw and Flint, Michigan areas that showcase hip hop, and we just really fell in love. And from that love, I became a fan. I experimented with a little breakdance and a little graffiti art, and eventually I started writing lyrics. And then I found my true calling, to be an MC, to be a rapper, to be a poet, a lyricist, all the things that I loved. And as I became a teenager, I became more in love with it. It became the way I expressed myself, and I just went full on. When I first rocked the crowd and I first got props, it just really fueled me to keep going, and I felt like this was my true calling.
And also, one thing that I noticed as well via Facebook when scrolling through some comments, I also noticed that some individual actually wrote that you actually had a hip hop group in junior high called DLP, the Dumpland
Yeah.
Posse. I have to ask you, man, what's the story behind the Dumpland Posse? And of course, how did you guys all meet? And how long were you guys together? Type thing. Like, what's the story behind that amazing group?
Okay, basically the DLP started in the early '90s. I would say probably '91 around then. I started rapping with my brother. He kind of gave it up, and then I was pursuing my own solo thing as much as I could. And I met some other fellow students in Montrose Teen Haven Middle School, where I went a little north of Flint, between Flint and Saginaw. That's where I met my partner DJ Fish, and me and him joined up with another cat named Dynamite D, and we became B Gozza with me being the head MC, and the DLP with Dynamite D as the hype man and DJ Fish as the DJ. And we kept doing talent shows. We basically rock a microphone any chance we could get, house parties, weddings, anything. We got a little older. We met another cat that originally from Flint, this cat named Too Young, who later would become Jackpot. He moved to Flint. We became friends in our mid-teens, and he joined the group. And that's when things really kicked off. We got a lot of props, doing a lot of shows, and started recording our own underground songs, selling tapes. And at that point, we lost the B guys in the DLP, and we just became the DLP. And the name, the Dumpland Posse, comes from the city where we all met. It was called Montrose, and there's 3 landfills there, 3 dumps. So we kind of became the Dumpland Posse, kind of, just joking on that element of there being so many landfills in the area. And then years later, when all of us graduated, moved out of the area, moved into the Flint area, we changed the name from Dumpland Posse to DLP Download Profits. And then after that, we elevated, worked with some other groups, became a super group called the Juggernaut till that disbanded, and then we became Artful Dodgers after that until I did my solo thing in 2010.
And that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool that you can actually start something, way back when, like in junior high, man, and still actually, just graduate and not like just gradually grow with the individuals that you actually first started a group with, man. That's actually a phenomenal
Right.
story. Not a lot of people stay friends after high school, let alone junior high.
Yeah, that's true, man. I've always felt like that's a way you could judge how a good person, how good a person is by do they have friends that they've had for 20 years since they were kids and stuff. And I personally, I could say that I do. I still have good friends that I've been friends with since I was a teenager. I'm still very good friends with the cats in the DLP. I talk to them all the time. You know what I'm saying? We're still involved with the music all together. I'm a little more serious than everybody else, but they step in and give me a hand and show support, and they show their talents whenever they get a chance to.
And also, as we already know, like majority of your fans know, you are the CEO at Earth Movers Records. But I have to ask you, what's the story behind that record label? And of course, who do you currently have signed to it today?
Okay, Earth Movers basically, it goes back to when we first started. We had a label called Midwestern Union, and we pushed that for a few years until I guess we just kind of felt limited by the Midwest title, and we weren't really happy with the logo and the sound of it. So then we became Earth Movers, which was kind of a brainchild of mine, where I wanted to make beats that would move the earth. So that's kind of where the name Earth Movers came from. I developed the label myself. At one point, there was more groups involved, but at this point, it's basically me, Gozza, on the solo tip. A group I have with Josie Wales called Born Lethal, and then of course we have Josie Wales as a solo artist. And then we have a group called Artful Dodgers, which is me, a cat named Jackpot, and DJ Psycho. And there's also a super crew called Top Dollar Defeat, which is on Earth Movers too, although we've only put out one project with that group, and mainly the focus has been on Born Lethal and then the solo stuff.
And I gotta say, Artful Dodgers, you guys have phenomenal chemistry, man, when you guys actually get together, man. Like, I went back through your archives there on YouTube and whatnot and actually took a listen, man. And the Artful Dodgers, man, you guys actually most definitely have some phenomenal chemistry. Do you think down the line you guys might get back together, do another Artful Dodgers record?
Yeah, possibly, man. We've actually we got together over the summer, had some vibe sessions, just talking and running through some ideas, and I think it's definitely a possibility, man. It was great being back in the lab with Jackpot and Psycho, and we had some real interesting ideas, and a long time went by with all three of us labbed up together, and when we got back together, I felt that chemistry was still there. We had a real good vibe, and I think the Artful Dodgers project in the future is definitely a possibility. I'd like to do it for sure.
And also, on October 22nd, year 2000, you actually opened up for the Wu-Tang Clan, man. Wu-Tang Clan affiliate, Killa Priest. I have to ask you, what was that experience like for you, just actually being up there and being able to open up for such a talented guy? Because in the in the 2000s, man, the Wu-Tang Clan was freaking huge. It still is today, don't get me wrong, but back then, they were going strong.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It was an honor rocking with Killa Priest, man. He was a super cool cat, dope MC. That show that night at the Note in Chicago was off the hook, man. We have a strong following in Chicago, and plus we're down with a lot of the dope Chicago hip hop artists, man. So when we go down there, it's like nothing but love, man. They showed us a lot of props and showed us a lot of love, and that night was great, man. I remember just a real hype crowd. The sound system was banging. There was a real dope artist that we're down with from Chicago on the bill, Juice. One Below from a fellow Michigan cat was on the bill. DJ Risky Business was on the cuts. Our boy Old Type Star was hosting. It was just like a perfect night, man. It was like family. And then a great thing, a little side effect of doing that show is our manager at the time, Jay Woody, hooked it up that along with doing the show with us, Killa Priest would also do a track with us, which led to the Artful Dodgers Killa Priest collabo Pillars of Ivory, which we released on the 2003 Artful album Second Wind. And it's a phenomenal track, man. It's an honor rocking with Priest. I mean, I think about it like I'm rocking with the cat that's rocking with Gozza and RZA and like the legends, you know. So just being a step away from that was an honor, and it was really cool.
And back then, on October 22nd, 2000, did you get the opportunity to like kick it with Killa Priest, or was it kind of like, he just did his set and he was kind of out type thing? Because I know some big guys, they do their set, they leave. Some people stick around afterwards and actually meet fans and other artists that performed.
Yeah, actually, we didn't really get to kick it with him too much. It was kind of that kind of situation where, you could tell he must have been traveling or something. He rocked the spot and he kind of just, bolted after the show.
And also, you were featured on Joey Koff's song titled "Hey Kids." I have to ask you, what was it like filming that video, "Hey Kids"? And of course, how did you get connected with Joey? The reason why I'm asking is because I gotta say that music video is so creative, man. I really do like the concept of that video.
Cool, thanks, man. Yeah, that track really came out perfect. I met Joey Koff years ago at this underground hip-hop spot in Flint called the Bedrock Lounge. It used to be called Jabberjaw, and it was back when I was in the Hartford Dodgers crews when we first met. But over the years, I became solo, started going by Gozza, and he changed his name to Joey Koff, and he kept doing the hip-hop too. And we constantly done shows together and crossed paths, and after a while, he hit me up about making some beats for him. So I went to the lab to start working on some tracks for him, and for some reason, when I put that Hey Kids beat together and scratched the chorus and everything with the Hey Kids, I thought of my man Joey Koff. And so I sent him the beat. He loved it immediately. Next thing you know, he's writing to it, came up with the concept of the bad substitute teacher or the bad guidance counselor. He hit me up asking if I wanted to do a little cameo as the principal on the song and in the video. And I mean, it just turned out real dope, man. It was a real creative idea. I give big props to my man Joey Koff. And plus the director of the video, my man Jay Rosa, he did a great job too, man. Just real good angles, camera work, editing. It really came together, and big shout out to all those parents that had their kids come down. It was kind of a real silly, fun shoot, with this guy pretending to be giving these kids horrible advice, and it was nice that I could step in there and try to make them do the right thing in the video.
And most definitely, and also at the end, ladies and gentlemen, he also fired Joey's ass as well. So
yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly. He asked me how he did, and I fired his ass.
Hey, well, if you're giving pills to kids and telling them to make sure to text and drive, I don't know, man. I think you did the right thing on there by firing him.
Yeah, I think so too.
But also another amazing song that you did is actually titled "Blown Away." Who is it? Off your album. Some guys get all the breaks. I was wondering if you tell us a bit more about that record, and of course, what's the inspiration behind that amazing track, "Blown Away"?
But basically, the idea behind Hamer Feldman came from me and Josie Wales, the group Born Lethal. It was actually before we were called Born Lethal. We knew we wanted to do a project together, but we didn't know what we wanted to title it. And one thing that me and my homie Josie Wales have in common is our love of movies. And within that love of movies, we love the movies of the two Corys, with Lost Boys, License to Drive. I know I'm forgetting one here, but they did a bunch of good movies together. And basically, we were trying to decide which Corey we liked the best. So we asked each other, Hamer Feldman. And then we just kind of liked the ring of that. So that kind of became our concept for the project was we'd call it Hamer Feldman. And then each song title would be one of the movies they did together. So we got, basically, I think it's like 10 tracks altogether. And almost all the tracks are titles of the two Corey's movies. And Blown Away was one of their movies they did later on. It was one of their more low-budget, I think, least successful movies. But, needless to say, they did the movie together, so Blown Away was one of the titles. And when we put that track together, that beat was just banging, and that became our favorite song off that project. And that's why years later, over 10 years later, when we put out the album, which is almost kind of like a greatest hits of Born Lethal, we made sure to put that Blown Away joint on there, and show a little props to that project. It's an underground project from a long time ago that really didn't get enough props.
Oh, I most definitely agree. It actually does deserve a lot of props because, like I told you before, there, Gozza, your music, it's very different than any other underground hip hop artist. You actually not only put elements of the hip hop culture, but also movies and type stuff. Like, not a lot of artists really do what you do. That's why I really think I'm drawn to your music, and it's one of a kind. And I really do agree. I really think that project most definitely should have blown up.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. And at one point, I actually tracked down the two Corey. It was actually before Hayne died, and I tracked down both Corey's addresses, and I tried sending them a copy of the album, but unluckily, they both got returned to sender.
Oh, they didn't even listen to it, eh?
They didn't even open the package.
Oh, man. Well, hey, you know what? At least you tried, though. I really think if they would have opened it, man, they would have enjoyed that, man, because that, like I said, that's a very catchy song.
Man, I think they would have too, man. I think them guys deep down they were music fans and they would appreciate it, I think.
And also, one question I have, one of your music videos that I was watching is a music video for Zigzag. The DJ machine was actually on fire. I probably know the answer to this. This is a personal question that I want to know. Did you guys really set the DJ console on fire, or was it just a special effect?
There was no special effect. We really set that turntable on fire. And how that happened, well, for one, I've always wanted to see that in a video with a DJ scratching that's so dope that it sets a turntable on fire. So I basically went to garage sales that summer. I think I bought this crappy old Technique turntable for probably like $2, and blam, I had a sacrificial turntable for the video. So we really set it on fire. We really burned it down to nothing.
Because I was wondering, like, 'cause I was sitting back and I was like, man, that's like an antique. That's like a retro DJ controller. So in my head, I'm like, I don't think he would light that on fire. You know what I mean? But hey, guys, I guess I was wrong on that one.
Yeah.
And also, you just recently dropped a new video about 3 days ago with Project Born titled Totally Insane. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with Project Born? And of course, what was it like actually shooting that music video?
Basically, I hooked up with Project Born years ago. When they first started off, the first time I met them cats was at a place called the Club Network in Flint. They did a show with Insane Clown Posse, Esham, Nodis, and Dice. And after the show, I walked up to them in the parking lot. They were actually driving out in this Cadillac, and I just gave them some props, and that was actually my first time meeting them. And then years later, as Artful Dodgers, we crossed paths with them and did quite a few shows with Project Born and Artful Dodgers together, and just sparked up a friendship. And years later, when they were in between studios for recording, they knew I had my own little home lab, and they knew I did beats and stuff. So they contacted me about recording, and they came over, recorded. They liked the vibe, they liked my beats and my methods, and we really hit it off, man. And I became their permanent recording studio. They did, I think, their last 3 or 4 projects in my lab, and just great dudes, man. Those are my dogs. And I try to, do a collab with them on all my projects now just because they're dope MCs and I have a camaraderie with them. And this Total Insane joint that we just put together for the new project, Black Vinyl, is nuts, man. It turned out so dope that I was inspired to make a video for it immediately. And it just had that raw energy and power to it, and I wanted the video to be similar. And recently in downtown Flint, there was all these amazing murals put up by these really talented painters, and I want to take advantage of that to get the energy from them paintings and just, the artist, methods and everything incorporated into the video. So I had hooked up my man Swigs and Low 14 Films from Detroit. They came up. I spotted a bunch of dope graffiti spots ahead of time, and we just do that video together, man. And it came together perfect, magic. It's like everything just fell in the right place, and it turned out awesome.
Oh man, I actually have Project Born, all 3 members taking over the airwaves tomorrow evening, so I knew I had to blend in that question, man. So listeners, Flint isn't over. Flint's still taking over tomorrow night as well, so it's a takeover of Michigan.
Most definitely, man. Make sure you tell them guys I said what's up. That's my homies.
And also, you actually recently just released, I would say a little while ago, you released your newest record, Scorpion Dragon 76. I have to ask you, tell us the inspiration behind that amazing record, and of course, where can our listeners buy or snag themselves a copy of that particular record?
Okay, yep. I basically dropped Scorpion Dragon 76 a few years ago. I think it was late 2017 when I dropped it. And the inspiration for that album is I've always been a fan of comic books, movies, superheroes. So I wanted to come up with my own superhero title and comic book cover. So I was just brainstorming on ideas, and so I kind of went to the Zodiac charts. I'm a Scorpio since I'm born in November. I was born in 1976, the year of the dragon, so I became Gozza, the Scorpion Dragon 76, to, represent me and my life and my growth. And the album just really turned out real dope, man. I really tried to do experimental type styles in there, kind of step out of my comfort zone and do different things, work with artists I didn't work before, and it really turned out dope, man. I'm really happy with that album. I really love the comic book cover by my homie Randy Zim from Flint Comics. He really killed it with that cover. And the album is available everywhere. You can stream it on all the sites, Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, YouTube, all those sites got it. And if you want to buy a hard copy, you can hit up my site, bgozza.com. That's BGOZZA.com. You can get a hard copy of the CD or the limited edition cassette tape, or you can just, download the songs directly from me as well.
And I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, I can actually say that it's a phenomenal record. I actually purchased myself not 1 but 2 copies, a CD and the cassette. So, if DJ Immortal is snagging not 1 but 2 copies, it's fucking dope. So make sure you guys get yourselves a copy, support the real, and most definitely get yourself a hard copy.
No doubt, man. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Hey, man, you're most certainly welcome. And also, you have a new record actually coming out soon. November 1st, you actually released the visuals for your up-and-coming album, Black Vinyl. I have to ask you, what can we expect from that particular record when it does get released to the general public?
Okay, the new album, Black Vinyl, is on its way. It's 12 tracks. I did all the beats myself. I got this. This is like my best project I've ever done, man. I really took my time and I cooked everything perfectly. I mean, this pandemic and everything going on really sucks, but I'm a reclusive person anyway, so it kind of forced me to be in the lab a little bit more. And I don't know, I caught the inspiration and I started working on this album just a few months ago. And I just really, I caught my stride and I got energized and knocked through all these tracks. And it's some of my best beats, some of my best rhymes, some of my best flows. I got my man DJ Virus scratching on 8 of the 12 tracks, and my man just killed it. He's a scratching beast. Some of the best scratches I've ever had on my tracks. I also got my man DJ Zach Carter doing a couple tracks, and the Artful Dodger DJ Psycho is going to be on there doing a couple tracks. I got some real dope guests. I got my man Josie Wales. I got Ill Tone from the Lyricist Blacktivity crew. My man Cyrus Grissom from Detroit's on there. I got my man Philosophy Cole. My man Farlan's going to be delivering some dope R&B, singing style stuff on there. I might have a special guest I'm working on. I got Project Born on the Totally Insane joint. I mean, just a lot of dope heat on this album. The album's called Black Vinyl because of my love for records. I'm a huge record collector. I'm a vinyl addict. I got a whole room in my house that's nothing but records. And, I mean, that's what I primarily use to make my beats. I believe in the art of sampling, the true art of hip-hop. Digging in them records, finding good sounds, taking them out of context, making them your own, and refreshing them and making something dope out of them. And this album is like a dedication to other people like me, other vinyl addicts, other people that love black vinyl and love hip hop, and they want to see the elements of the scratch and the DJ stay in it, because it's crucial. It should never have been excluded. And this is my love letter to DJs, producers, vinyl addicts, record collectors, all the people that are just like me. And we're tired of this lamestream pop, trap, rap, mumble bullshit. It's like we want that real hip hop. We want skills, dope lyrics, hard hitting drums, beats, scratching. I want to see breakdancers, graffiti artists. It's like it's time to take this hip hop culture back, man, because it was beautiful before and it can be beautiful again.
I most definitely agree, man. And also, aside from your music side of things, you were also featured in the up-and-coming Flint hip-hop documentary. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that, and when is the estimated release date for that project?
Yeah, the project was actually supposed to come out this year, but with the pandemic and everything, it got pushed back. So I think the release date's going to be in 2021 now. My homegirl Jerry did an excellent job with the documentary. It originally started out, it was going to be all about Flint hip-hop. And then after, a while, like many things in the entertainment industry, it morphed into something different, and it became more a documentary about the late, great MC Breed, the greatest MC out of the Flint area ever, and about his partner, Bootleg, from the Dayton Family crew. They had a good history together, and the documentary is kind of about both their careers in the Flint area. And luckily, being who I am, a huge hip-hop historian and Michigan hip-hop fan, Flint hip-hop fan, I talked about all Flint hip-hop in this documentary, but I also talked, of course, about MC Breed and Dayton Family and Bootleg quite a bit. That I'm all throughout the documentary still. So when you do get a chance to see it, I'm peppered all throughout it, and it's pretty dope, man. I got nothing but love for everybody that worked on it, nothing but love for MC Breed and his family. I mean, he's definitely deserving of a documentary, if not more. And big shout out to Bootleg, Dayton Family, Jerry, everybody, involved in that documentary, man. I really can't wait for everybody to see it. It's a nice positive thing for Flint, and it needs to be seen.
And also, quickly taking you back there a little bit in the timeline. Right after this interview, I'm going to be playing one of my favorite tracks by you, titled Brady Bunch, for our live audience, man. And I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that song, and of course, what's the story behind that, behind your mixtape cover? Because I got to say, that is the most creative type cover I've actually ever seen.
Nice, thank you, man. Yeah, Brady Bunch goes way back, man. This is going back to when I was a little kid. I hated the Brady Bunch. Being that my name is Brady, that was always a go-to for people teasing me. They always called me Brady Bunch all the time, man. It drove me crazy. I hated it. So fast forward years later, I embraced it. I said, I'm Brady. This is a nice, cool idea for a mixtape. I'm going to call it the Brady Bunch Mixtape. And it really turned out great, man. I hooked up with my man, Johnny Mnemonic. We threw that cover together. I had the idea of having each square with a different, a different style me looking at each other, kind of like the old Brady Bunch, TV show. And then the song came about. I really wanted to, pay homage to that old TV show that drove me crazy all these years, and I actually sampled the theme song, and it really turned out dope, man. I never expected it to transition into a hip-hop form as well as it did. It really turned out great, and it's one of my most successful songs, man. I've got a lot of positive feedback on that song, and the mixtape as well.
And I got to say, man, you know what I mean? I was not expecting you to say you hated the Brady Bunch. I thought it was more of like you were a fan growing up, and then you kind of decided to make a song. But I do want to say, when I have you on the air, man, thank you for actually sending myself a copy of that mixtape there on hard copy when I actually purchased your cassette. So I want to give you props for that, for sending me a hard copy of that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I gotta look out for the DJs, and that CD is not even for sale. So I gave you a little something special there.
Hey, man. Well, you know what? I have it in my I have it in the vault. I have a few songs, obviously, in the station's rotation. Hence why I'm playing Brady Bunch tonight. But hey, man, it's good to have something one of a kind, man. But I gotta ask you, Gozza, other than your newest record coming out, Scorpion Dragon, what is next for the one and only Flint, Michigan's own Gozza?
After this Black Vinyl album, I've actually got quite a few ideas. I'm going to release the album probably towards the end of this month, maybe early December, depending on how the mixing process goes. But I have ideas for a double video that's going to be my next thing. I'm probably going to shoot it in December or January, but it's actually going to be like almost like a short film type of video, and it's going to incorporate two of the songs from the album Black Vinyl. The title track, Black Vinyl, and then another track on there called Warrior, which I'm really excited about. The video is going to be real dope. I got some real creative ideas for that. And then, I plan on touring once the clubs and concert halls get open back up. I'd like to tour and, promote the Black Vinyl album. And I also have an idea for an instrumental album that I'm already working on that I'm probably going to drop shortly after I drop Black Vinyl, which is all going to be soulful, boom bap, rock and hip-hop beats, with a little Gozza Flint twist to them.
And so Gozza... Oh, sorry about that, Gozza.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, but I was also going to say, there's a Newborn Lethal project in the works, too. I'm working with my man Josie Wales on another project. I think it's about 70% done now, so be on the lookout for that as well. That's going to be pretty dope.
And so, Gozza, this is a time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM airwaves. Just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. And, of course, your social media handles and your websites. That way our listeners can follow you and check you out if they're not already doing so.
Awesome, I appreciate it, man. The main thing to check out for me is bgozza.com. That's my home away from home. That's where you can get all my information, all my songs, all my albums. It's spelled BGOZZA.com. So definitely check that out. And plus, I got all my music on other sites like Spotify, YouTube, all the streaming sites, Amazon, iTunes, all that stuff. You can get my albums. Just search Gozza on there. And I also have some other projects in the works, like the Born Lethal. That is also up for streaming. Just search Born Lethal, spelled just how it sounds. Those albums are up on Spotify and all them links as well. My other social media, almost everything's under Brady Gozza or B Gozza. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, YouTube. And I definitely want to give some big shout out to all my fans, all my listeners, all my family, supporters. Big shout out to my wife, Raquel. I love you. Shout out to my family, the Gossers. Much love to all of you, my brother Ryan, my mom and dad. Shout out to Josie Wales. Shout out to Top Dollar Defeat, Born Lethal, Alpha Dodgers, DJ Psycho, DJ Zach Carter, DJ Surreal, DJ Virus, Project Born, my man Bangtown, all of my people out there. My man Cyrus Grism, Ill Tone, Philosophy Cole. Shout out to Melissa Morgan. Shout out to my homies Camp Low. Shouts out everybody out there, rocking the Gozza Strip. I appreciate all you. Shout out to my man Swigs. Just threw together the dope video. Shout out to Low 14 Films, killing it. Everybody out there, I got nothing but love for all the hip hop artists and doing that real hip hop music, man. Like if you're pushing the culture and you're not just in it for for money and greedy bullshit. If you're in it for the art and you're pushing the culture forward and helping the community and helping the younger generation, giving back to the seeds, I have love for you. big shout out to everybody out there with love for hip hop music. And big shout out to you, DJ Immortal, and big shout out to all the Canadian hip hop fans. I got love for all y'all too.
Hey, man, I gotta say, I appreciate you. And Gozza, I do gotta say, man, I hope you have yourself a wonderful night. And I already know we most definitely will be chopping it up again live on the air January 1st, because we got Born Lethal, we got Gozza and Josie taking over the airwaves. So, guys,
most
stay
definitely, man.
mark them calendars.
No doubt.
I gotta say there, Gozza, have yourself a wonderful night, and most definitely stay safe out there out in Flint.
All right, brother. Good talking to you.
You as well. Have yourself a great night.
Hey, you too. Peace.